Hey, what's going on? Jim Wolfe here, and I am completely addicted to reading books. And so today, I'm going to debut a new series I have called Book Nuggets, where I take the books that I'm reading and I share some of what I'm learning from them with you. So I hope you get some value out of this, and for me, I hope that I get to learn even more by doing this. So let's get started. The first book that I want to talk about is a really fun one called Leadership Secrets of Attila the Hun. You can get it for just a couple of bucks on Amazon if you want. And Attila is a really interesting guy. We actually still don't really know what his actual name was because Attila is an interpretation of his name in another language. And so Attila wasn't actually his name. We're not sure what it was. And I think Attila gets a bad rep because he kind of terrorized the Roman Empire for a little while. When he first came to power, they had pretty good relations between his empire and the Roman Empire, but over time he started kind of taking over more of it. In fact, I read recently that the city of Venice was founded when he was invading that part of Italy, and all the people in the town kind of went out to all of these little islands and started building that city that way. So I think that's interesting. But either way, Attila seems like he was a really good leader, and so there's a lot of value in this book written by Wess Roberts. And so 3 quick things that I learned from Leadership Secrets of Attila the Hun. Number 1, do not treat all of your opponents as enemies. I think it's really easy to kind of equate these two words, opponents and enemies. They seem like the same thing, but obviously they're not because they're separate words for them. For me, I definitely do this. This is why it's one of the things that I focused on when I read this book. And what Attila was saying is that you can have really positive confrontations with people both on your team and also people that you're fighting against. In his case, it was armies. And in your case, it might be a rival business or a rival sports team or something like that. And so I think it's a really interesting point that he makes in distinguishing opponents from enemies and figuring out what we might be able to learn from the people that we're competing against. So I thought that was cool. And the second thing I thought was really interesting, and this one's really hard for me, and I'm sure some of you will find it the same, is that no matter how much you prepare, sometimes you will lose. There's not anything you can do to guarantee victory all the time in whatever endeavor that you're pursuing. You know, Michael Jordan didn't always make the last shot. We remember a lot of the times that he did, but he didn't always make it. And so I think this is something that's really important for me to remember. And if Attila the Hun can say something like that, maybe it'll benefit you as well. And then the third thing that I thought was really cool from this book and Attila's philosophy is that every Hun has value. This is something that I definitely agree with. Every human being has value. In his case, he says that every Hun has value, if only to serve as a bad example of what not to do. And I think it's really important to kind of embrace this philosophy of basic human value for all people. And it might be interesting to you that someone like Attila the Hun supposedly had that philosophy. But again, he probably gets a bad rep because of the Western filter that we look at him through. So 3 things. Don't always look at your opponents as your enemies. Number 2, no matter what you do, sometimes you're going to lose. And number 3, every Hun or every person has value, if only to serve as a bad example. So I hope you got some value out of that, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to The Jim Wolfe Show. For more content like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel or go to jamesdwolfe.com. That's jamesdwolfe.com.